right, guard your privacy, blah, 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 community guidelines. Okay, so hopefully everyone's doing well. I hope everyone had a good 4th of July. We had a pretty rough one in Texas. And apparently this Tuesday, Ruidoso, New Mexico, which had fires earlier in the year, well, that got rid of a bunch of the plants and trees, and they had landslides and water and all that going down the street. Hey, Rob. So in Ruidoso, New Mexico, there was a house floating down the main street of the town on Tuesday, I believe it was. In San Angelo last week, around when all the flooding happened. Hey, KP. Hey, Gen X. Around when all the flooding happened, there was a house just showed up when the water receded in the middle of the 4-lane that goes through the middle of town. So literally these waters were, hold on here, were picking homes up and transporting them down wherever the water was going. That water that went through San Angelo came from the western part of Texas and then went to the hill country, which is why the hill country was so bad. Because not only were they getting their own rain, they were getting our runoff and the runoff from Dallas at the same time. So it was just a massive amount of water. I can't even tell you how many millions of gallons or barrels went down. And, oh, here comes an ambulance. He's coming in hot. Y'all people better move, because I don't think he's stopping. Nope, here he comes. But one thing I do like, people pull over out here for the ambulance, which is nice. So, been a long week. I put a post earlier. Sadly, my colleague and her husband did not survive. They were found. Her sister and brother-in-law also lost. And yeah, something around that number sounds about right, Neil. I don't know the actual report. Hey, Rip. The 2 teenagers that were with the family were, where are you going? That's not a lane. That's not a lane. What a stupid person. Don't be angry, stupid. She's talking on her phone. You know, you'd think you have a newer vehicle, like anything after 2010 should have Bluetooth in it, or at least you can plug your phone. So I'm sitting there talking to it. I don't understand the level of stupid in our society. It's just crazy. But anyway, yeah, Rip. So they rescued one of the teenagers. She was in a tree. What we found out is that the surviving teenager was found 15 miles away from where the campground was. And, you know, they're saying that obviously she got hit in the head. She got beat up by debris and whatnot. So her recollection is not good. But what kind of wave of water picks you up from A and transports you 15 miles down a river? Hey, Hudson, what's going on? That's an insane amount of water, and the speed, the velocity. When we had Hurricane Harvey in Houston, we got 50 inches of rain. It was insane. Everything flooded. It was a hot mess. But the water was not moving that fast. It was just the depth of the water. And there were people that we didn't have drowning like that where it just flooded a whole area.
Adrian said to the group,
my coworker,
broke free, hung up again, 300, that's everything.
My coworkers. Anyway, a lot of the fatalities during the hurricanes were people driving in the floodwaters and could not see the road, and they didn't realize, for instance, service road that go over drainage. The bridges washed out, and they were driving into the body. Were getting carried downriver. There was a massive amount of water, but it did not move. Those familiar with Ruidoso, New Mexico, they're very mountainous, and they have a lot of valleys and ravines. And what that does is Bernoulli's equation from high school, right? You take a lot of water and you try and compress it into a small ravine. In order to do that, the water pressure and the speed pick up to move the volume. And the velocity just increases by a phenomenal amount. And that's basically what happened. Not being cold and putting physics to the situation, but it's something, sadly, all of us could learn from. You know, if you're camping in an area that you're in a ravine, you're in the Grand Canyon, if they get a massive rain up mountain, will flood like an SOB, like it's insane flooding. I'm talking tens of feet in minutes, because there's nowhere for the water to go. It's rock on both sides. It just goes up and fills. Be familiar with where you're going. And yeah, no, absolutely, Rip. So New Mexico got flooded, and they had just had the fires, so all of their trees were still growing. So they had a lot of loose dirt and dead plant life, which just made it a lot worse. Fortunately, I don't think there was a massive loss of life there. There were some fatalities. For the most part, the people kind of saw the storm coming and tried to position themselves accordingly, which is good. They weren't caught blind like the 4th of July folks were in Texas. And it being a 4th of July holiday probably made it so much worse, because you had people from all over the south of the U.S. have gone there, and that's a very popular place in Texas, and they don't know the area. They don't know that it floods. They don't know if it does flood, which way do you drive. They just showed up and were partying on the beach. I'll bet you there were a lot of folks who had been drinking. Could you imagine getting up at 3 a.m. from a good drunk and the water's coming at you? Like, it's tough. So, hey, Rebecca. Yes, I hope you're well. There are a lot of lessons to be learned. It's very heartbreaking what happened. Losing someone that I'd been bowling with, her and her husband, like 3 weeks ago. It's weird. How did the Coast Guard save 165 people? It wasn't just the Coast Guard. Army National Guard, they have what I can only describe as the sky out here. It's like a bunch of private helicopter pilots who pulled in areas. They had the responders and the drones, and then they had civilians showing up with their specialty drones trying to help, and they were trying to coordinate. That got a little hectic because a lot of people tried to help, but then they were getting in each other's way, and they actually had to tell folks, look, don't come down. We have the people. We're trying to organize. If more come down, it's just going to get us more screwed up, and we won't know where to put everyone. We're going to start losing track of people. But yeah, the Coast Guard was there. The National Guard was there. There were people on horseback, people on kayaks. The amount of volunteers that showed up. I saw the same thing in Lillian, Louisiana. I saw the same thing in Harvey in Texas. Was just amazing. I couldn't speak more highly of our neighbors in Oklahoma and Louisiana and people around Texas. I'm sure you had your jerks, but seeing that many people suddenly say, no, we need to help. HEB, the grocery chain, actually sent 4 semis, which were the emergency response trailers, including a 18-wheeler that was an entire massive mobile kitchen, and they were feeding hundreds of people, the survivors, people who got kicked out of their homes, the rescuers, the volunteers, every meal. Like, they did 4 meals every 6 hours, 6 noon, 6 to feed all the people that were there. That cost the company money. That they did a hell of a job. There was a preacher that went out there they couldn't find all the bodies in a timely manner, so there was some that he was doing last rites with whatever family was there on site, just to give them that closure, to let them know, look, we're going to say the prayers here, even though you may be burying them somewhere else. He was doing their last rites. It's hard to describe how happy I am, not at the tragedy, but that people stepped up the way they did. And they were from everywhere. They were from everywhere. That this wasn't a political, a culture, color, language barrier. There were folks from everywhere speaking different languages, and they all said, we're going to save whoever the hell we can save. And that's what it should be about. That's, you know, people, when they come here and they want to volunteer and do stuff like that from other countries, and they want to donate and they want to cook, that's awesome. That's the way our whole society should be. And I know that's utopian, right? Because it's not, because some people are assholes, but it was good to see it. It was good to see all those people step up the way they did. And it was tough. They were recovering pets, people, children. Some of the rescuers did get hurt because you're walking through debris and all of a sudden something gives out under you and you fall down a hill, and now we have an injured rescuer. A few people got stitches trying to help others, but you know, they were out there. They did their part. And you know, obviously they get cut up or hurt, they have to, you know, bow out. But you know, that tells you a lot about it. Restores faith in humanity when I see people, for all the ugly we see on the internet, to see people do that, that's a hell of a thing. It really is. And I've seen it several times, so I know people are capable of this goodness, and they're capable of this righteousness if they choose to. And you know, it should be applauded when folks do that. I think it wasn't their job. They just decided we're going to help somebody because it's the right thing to do, which is great. So we had a vigil for our friends, which was good because, you know, they were my friends, but there were some people who've known them for 15, 20 years. Being able to give everyone that time for prayer, and they were a funny couple, y'all. Like these were one of those couples that, you know, we go play, I don't know, something stupid like bowling or pickleball, and they would show up in the most ridiculous Hawaiian shirts, like absolutely drunk uncle Hawaiian shirts, and drunk aunt, like the wine aunt and the drunk uncle Hawaiian shirts. And they were just absolutely hilarious couple. So I guess their work was done, and a lot of other people are still here, so we still have work to do, you know. And you know, we remember they're good, and you try and carry it on. And I'm glad they were able to have that gathering, and people could remember the beautiful things about them, and all the other people too. California had a bad week too. They went to disrupt it was a marijuana farm, which in California is legal, and something else, a different farm. And while they were there, they found roughly a dozen underage children working the field. And of course, you know, they took them into custody. Then the protesters came and they were fighting with each other, and there was tear gas and smoke, and, you know, people were upset. Somebody allegedly fired at, hey, Gerald. Yes, absolutely. And Gerald, people should sit in the grass and play with their dogs. People should have a beer and look at the clouds. I mean, we've become such a fast-moving society that we're missing the precious moments because we won't slow down, because we no longer know how. And I think it'll take deliberate effort for people to do that. But in any case, California, so the kids were taken into protective custody. Now the FBI is involved investigating if there was child labor or child trafficking involved in that. And supposedly one protester pulled out a gun and fired at the Fed. So now everyone's pissed off on the Fed side. They're trying to figure out what idiot did this. But they need to punish these companies. You know, they really need to punish the companies, because a lot of these folks are coming here because someone's paying for them. I believe it, Neil. I would believe it. And I mean, most politicians, to me, if they serve more than 2 terms, they're probably crooked. You know, if you want to serve your country and you do a term or 2 as a senator and you're like, okay, I'm done, I'm going to be an ambassador or write a book or whatever, fine. But you're 50 years, 60 years. Holy cow. So you were 23 when you were, I don't know, 30, 40 years. So you got elected at 35 years old and you retired at 75, 40 years. That's like 2 generations of other people went past you. Oh, really? That's interesting to know. I believe it. I absolutely believe it. And, you know, people are upset about the Epstein files. The Epstein files, you need evidence, right? I mean, not that I don't want, if somebody abused kids, they need to go to jail. Screw that. But you have someone who, you have this book, say that he has a book of people who've gone, that doesn't mean they did anything. Like in a court, if I was a defense attorney, I'll say, okay, sir, he visited the island, he had dinner and flew out. Like, do you have video evidence? Do you have other things? Now, the question is, one, is there other stuff and they're hiding it because it's incriminating to people in power, or are they using it? Classic Cold War. We have this evidence, so I'm going to go to powerful people and I'm going to tell them, you're not going to do whatever you were doing. You're going to do this, because if you don't, we're going to leak this and you're going to go to jail. It would not be the first time the FBI has had dossiers on individuals, not to prosecute them, but to manipulate at some future point. Do they? I don't know. I don't know, but it's crazy. But people are so fixated with that, and you know, there's kids being trafficked and being made to work in the fields, just like they do in the old country, and they're probably being forced to do it. That's a problem. So we'll see where that goes. Deal on Obama's Senate seat. I got the prickster in Illinois' governor seat who failed to close the deal on Obama. Oh, news of the prickster. Prickster. Wait, who's in Illinois? I just blanked out. Anyway, it's been a long week. There's been a lot of raids. There've been a lot of deportations, arrests. Hey, Pilgrim. Oh, I got you. I think it's important, though, don't get distracted with all of this. There's some very important lessons to learn. Don't get me wrong, whether it's the raids, the deportations, the flooding, whatever the hell accident happened on the other coast. There's lessons to be learned, but it's important we not get so distracted that we lose focus, one, on our lives, but also, two, on getting stuff done. A few weeks ago, I ate an edible. And you know what? That's what I'm talking about. And whether it's an edible or you're having a glass of bourbon and a cigar, whatever your flavor of fun is, take a minute. Play with your dogs. We redid the backyard, and I have a turf area in the back now, which is the dog's battleground and the picnic area. But I sat on the floor and I tried to take a video of them fighting and just running around like psychos, but then they sacked the camera. So basically what you saw was their butt, and then they knocked me down. So I'm going to have to attempt that again. I'm going to have to give them some toys and create a riot. Oh, my buddy.
Adrian said to the group, free again. That's all your messages.
Yeah. Our guys got some equipment stuck on a work site. I guess they got loose, which is good because that's expensive shit. It was the Fluffy Wars. And then they'll antagonize the neighbor's chihuahua, which is just funny because it's like potatoes fighting a flea. And it's like, what are you guys doing? Collectively, you equal a German Shepherd. I don't know. But take some time. Stay with your basics. But I would give everyone a little bit of homework. Look at your area. Many of you lived... See, I relocate a lot. I've relocated a lot, so I'm familiar with different areas. But it takes a while to get to understand a new area. Sit down and look at your area. Not just, oh, I know where the Costco is or Walmart or whatever. No. What is your rainfall like? What is your average temperatures like? What is your geography like? What is the geology like? If it rains 10 inches, will you flood down Main Street and floating houses and everything? Or will it simply dissipate into the grass, but then get vehicles stuck? Take some time this weekend, and you can do this having fun. Get the family in the car, get a couple of, coffees, sodas, whatever drink you want. Don't drink booze. That's not a good idea driving. And then drive around your area and just look and see, gee, do I live near a drainage? Do I live near the water treatment plant? Because if that floods, you're going to get poo and pee all over your yard, and that's going to be a biological nightmare. Hey, what's up, Rabbit? Do this homework while you're out and about trying to slow down. Just look at your area and go, what are the dangers here? Do I get extreme temperatures? Do I get freezing in the winter? Do I get flooding? Do I get a hurricane, or do I get a blizzard? Usually hurricane areas don't get blizzards and vice versa. Really, a blizzard's a snow hurricane, but it comes from the other direction. But anyway, get familiar with your area and then ask yourself, what do I have here? Like, having a water filter is great. I live in a damn desert. There's no water to filter. I can't filter the sand or the dirt. I can find a cactus and take the thorns off and use that for liquid, but that's not sustainable, right? That's a survival thing. Get familiar with your area. Do you know the plants in your area? Do you know where your farmers markets are? Do you know where the meat markets are? The butcher, not the grocery store guy, a butcher. Have you found one? If you haven't, do that. Take this weekend and prep in a calm manner and just go meander your area. Go sightseeing, go hit some yard sales. When you, after church, go, get some lunch, and then go meander the area. Take a walk in the local park and just look and say, wow, would this area flood? Does the lake have fish? Or can I catch one of these ducks and make them a farm duck? Whatever. I mean, don't steal ducks from the park because you'll get in trouble. But point being, understand your area, be familiar with it, and then ask yourself, what are my risks? I won't get a hurricane up where I am, ever. Hey, Little Lone, I will never get a hurricane up here. But we get flooding and we get little tornadoes, which suck. And we get extreme heat. We freeze. Sometimes we get wicked cold, but it's very unusual and very short-lived. But we will get a month of 100 to 114 Fahrenheit. So what's that, 40 to 43 Celsius, if I did the math right in my head? That's hot. And that's a risk. If your AC goes out, if you break down a highway and you have to walk 2 miles to get to a gas station, you need to have water in your vehicle. Maybe have a hat, maybe have some loose clothes you can put over to protect you from the sun so you don't dehydrate or get heat stroke. So drive around, and while you're at the park, while you're having a beer or you're watching the stars, just look around and say, what does my area bring? What are its positives and what are its negatives? It's an absolutely free way to prep, and you're doing it while you're hanging out. There's a big-ass duck. I'm by the duck pond in one of the parks. I just parked here to do the live stream, and there's one duck just whipped pigeons' asses over there. I don't know what pigeons did. And the duck just came charging through, and he beat up the pigeons and sent them away. I mean, the pigeons probably deserved it because pigeons are turds, but that was funny. I wish I'd have caught that on the camera because that was hilarious. And now he's all proud of himself. He's waddling by himself. I guess he just decided y'all need to leave. He came charging through him with his wings out and everything and scattered everyone else. So anyway, folks, look, you guys have a blessed weekend. For those of you who did reach out, thank you for reaching out. It's sad to see good people leave us. And, it's times like this you ask, why? Why them? Why not someone else? But, their work was done. Their work was done on this side of the world, on this plane of existence, and hopefully they've moved to a better place. I'd like to believe they did. So while you're at it this weekend and you're prepping and doing the things you normally do, Go to your friends, go to the people you love, your pets, your cousins, your siblings, whoever. Call them, text them, let them know you're thinking of them. And well, no, not the white goose. It was one like a wood duck. No, the white duck, he's hanging out over there. He's like passed out under a tree. So Affleck had an edible and he's passed out over there. And there's only one, which is funny. He's just under the tree. He's out. He gives 0 right now. And there goes the duck waddling back toward the pigeons. I guess he's going to kick someone else's ass. Oh, he's going after the grackle now. That duck's just in a mood. I wonder if she has a nest and the birds are getting too close and she's like not having it. And she's like, you're too close to my babies. So I'm going to start whipping tail over here. But hey, there you go. Go get yourself a drink. Go to the park. Throw bread to the ducks and watch the birds fight each other. Nice, relaxing way to do things. Anyway, you guys, ladies and gentlemen, be good, be safe, be careful out there. Rejoice in the blessings you do have, and study your area a little bit. Get familiar. What are my risks? And if you're new to your area, definitely take some time to drive around and get familiar. Anyway, you guys be good, be safe. I will see you guys, if not this weekend, I will definitely see you guys next week. Y'all be good.